animal health care. For commercial livestock producers, the project will cover up to 50% of a farm investment plan. Eligible expenditures will include materials, tools, and other essential inputs. This scheme will support about 200 livestock producers, where an estimated 20% will be women. In addition, the project will provide technical support for the design and construction of resilient infrastructure. The fishery subsector interventions are aimed at stimulating a rapid expansion in the fish supply in order to restore livelihoods and revenue streams in the local economy. This subcomponent aims to provide assistance that will contribute to the increase in fish catch, value added, and improved fisheries management regulations targeting 150 eligible fishers. The project will contribute to consolidating and capitalizing the fishing sector, ensuring rapid recovery from post-storm events in an increasingly challenging global climate. Specific interventions to be supported by the project include A, recapitalizing fisher folk by co-financing the repair of up to a maximum of about 150 boats, and B, recovering about around 5 boat building facilities around Dominica. Madam Speaker, this is even more critical with the availability of several new hotel rooms and an anticipated increase in visitor arrivals in our country. Building our climate resilience and agribusiness capabilities is a third subcomponent. To adequately support the investment at the farm level, under subcomponent 1, the project will engage industry experts and prepare development strategies specifically needed for Dominica's context. This takes into consideration Dominica's current situation, vulnerability conditions, relative competitiveness constraints, and developing strategy for key agricultural products. This will inform the direction of investments in regard to changing weather patterns and market opportunities, as well as providing long-term development direction for each crop industry. Market assessments of key crops and subsequent technical advice would facilitate the scoping of potential market opportunities, identify existing constraints, and devise potential solutions, and determine the corresponding capacity needs. This subcomponent, which will focus on agribusiness, will contribute to building agribusiness capabilities among small to medium-sized crop and livestock farmers and fisherfolk who would have benefited under subcomponents 1 and 2. This will assist the country to boost its regional and international agricultural market share. Once implemented, the subcomponent envisages building market and agribusiness capabilities. Madam Speaker, training and technical assistance will be particularly focused in the adoption of new and effective technologies such as contour farming and conservation buffers, soil and water management, reduced tillage, adequate cropping systems, using rotations and intercropping, new harvesting and handling practices, among others. It will also focus on modern inputs, including the use of high-quality seeds and seedlings, new, improved, and more resilient seed varieties to gradually increase climate resilience in the agricultural sector. The project will strengthen farmers' capacity through demonstration plots that promote adoption of more diversified, high-value crops such as cocoa, white potatoes, citrus, and ginger. This will promote new and improved production technologies that support climate adaptation technologies, such as water harvesting, mulching, adoption of more weather-resistant crop species, marketing, and farming as a business, among others. Madam Speaker, A critical component of the project is dedicated to our forests. The project intends to restore proper access as well as public and community forest ecosystems services lost in the storm and build long-term capacity for comprehensive forest resilience planning. Another critical intervention is the rehabilitation or reconstruction of 130 kilometers of walking trails, as these are major contributors to the local tourism industry. Government's infrastructure that supports the maintenance, promotion, and management of the forests and trails to enable monitoring, research, public outreach, and emergency services will be either rebuilt or upgraded. Madam Speaker, I highlight two other initiatives in the Ministry of Agriculture. One is our engagement of our friends from Serbia to assist with the introduction of new technologies in greenhouses, hydroponics and aquaponics, and tissue culture. Cell phone and solar power technology will be used to control irrigation and fertilization systems. The necessary agreements have been signed between our two governments, and very soon we will start realizing the benefits from this agreement. Madam Speaker, I also wish to articulate the main components of a major initiative provided with the assistance of the government of the People's Republic of China through the Chinese Agricultural Technical Mission. Work at the Portsmouth Agricultural Station will continue to focus on the introduction of new vegetable crop varieties and demonstration, seedling propagation, and technical training and extension services. Madam Speaker, the feasibility study for the construction of an agricultural complex has been completed. The 1,200 square meter, 3-story building will include a tissue culture lab, training center, meeting rooms, and accommodation and offices for the Chinese agricultural experts. We expect an agreement between the government of Dominica and the government of the People's Republic of China for the construction of the complex to be signed later this year. I wish again to thank publicly the government and people of the People's Republic of China and the government of Serbia for their support for ever important agricultural sector. We have no doubt, Madam Speaker, that we shall see a transformation of agriculture through the use of technology, access to financing by farmers, and greater resilience in agriculture. Research and development in respect of plant pathology will play a critical role in our thrust to building an agricultural sector utilizing new technology and farm practices. Madam Speaker, there are three very important, visible, and noteworthy signs in agriculture which has been taking place in recent time. And I speak, Madam Speaker, of one, an increase in the involvement of young people in agriculture, an increase in the involvement of young professionals in agriculture, and three, an increase in the involvement of young women in agriculture, Madam Speaker. And I believe that it is important for me to name but a few, a very, very few, Madam Speaker, today in the Parliament. And I salute, Madam Speaker, Mr. Condoni Williams, a lawyer who is heavily involved in agriculture matters. Mr. Karim Gist, a business executive who is heavily involved in the poultry industry, Madam Speaker. Dr. Coulson Judge, who is a specialist doctor at the hospital, who is very heavily involved in the production of chicken meat, Madam Speaker. Mr. Glenn Cyril of Calibishi, who is involved not only in agriculture but agro-processing, utilizing our cassava. Mr. Lenny Aubrey of Calibishi, young man, cultivating several acres of different varieties of yams and different varieties of potato, Madam Speaker. I salute this gentleman. Mr. Sheldon Roy of Penville, a young barber who is heavily involved and passionately involved in agriculture. Pastor Jody Andrews, a pastor, a church leader, who is also heavily involved in agriculture. And Mr. Refin Deja of Mount Prospect, heavily involved in the production of seasoning and also vegetables management. Madam Speaker, I say without fear of contradiction. And Madam Speaker, I left out my name. Somebody else mentioned my name later on. So. Madam Speaker, I say without any fear of contradiction that with these comprehensive investments we have made and will continue to make in agriculture, and with the foundation laid by the pioneers in agriculture who are still practicing, the future of the sector and its contribution to the economy is well assured, Madam Speaker. The future is bright for the agricultural sector. The development of our agricultural sector is unfolding in a very positive manner. This is an exciting time for any youth interested in agriculture. I therefore encourage them to take full advantage of the new economic opportunities presented by our vision and investments in agriculture. Madam Speaker, in this fiscal year, emphasis on the development of our human resource base will remain a priority. As we build a new Dominica, we recognize the importance of education to achieve our long-term development goals. In this regard, the government has taken a decision to undertake a review of our education system to better align it with our development thrust, to ensure that our people are equipped with the appropriate skills to take full advantage of the opportunities that are currently available. We have gotten a commitment from the Organization of American States to assist with this exercise. In this current global dispensation, having a skill is not sufficient. One has to be able to present a certificate to substantiate his or her proficiency in a particular skill. It is for this reason that government has taken a decision to introduce, under the aegis of the Dominica State College, a national skills certification program. This program will be conducted mainly in the evenings, which will ensure the fullest participation. We intend, with the use of technology, to establish education hubs at our various secondary schools to help achieve this objective. The government's contribution to the budget of the Dominica State College is increased by $2 million to help implement this and other programs. So, Madam Speaker, commencing January 2020, we will begin to celebrate hundreds of our citizens graduating from Dominica State College, many of whom may not have completed primary or secondary school. But with this certification, our skilled men and women will now be in a position to take advantage of the free movement of skilled labor within the free movement framework of CARICOM. Because, Madam Speaker, certification is critical. And the beauty about this will be, Madam Speaker, as I said, there are people who may not even have completed primary school or secondary school. But through this certification program and utilizing their experience, we will place them in the classroom, Madam Speaker, at evenings, 2 or 3 nights in the week, to teach them management of the businesses and other core principles of a small business, Madam Speaker. And at the end of this exercise, they will get a skill certificate. So we will see a situation where a gentleman who will not have completed primary school will be a proud graduate of the Dominica State College. So with this Labour Party administration, Madam Speaker, there's always hope. Yes. There's always hope, because our mantra has always been and continues to be, we educate people from cradle to grave, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this Labour Party government can be dubbed the housing government. As this is the only government that has invested significantly into housing our people. Unfortunately, who was set back by Tropical Storm Erica and Hurricane Maria. Following the passage of Erica, we indicated we will relocate the residents of Dubik and the large village of Petit Savan. We were chastised and ridiculed by the opposition who said this could not happen. Madam Speaker, we kept our promise. We have successfully built comfortable, resilient homes for the residents of Dubik and Petit Savan, which are the envy of the region. With the passage of Hurricane Maria, with over 90% of our homes affected in one way or another, government then boldly declared that it would build 5,000 climate-resilient homes for its citizens. Less than 2 years later, we have built over 511 new homes, and 1,068 homes are currently under construction. I give the assurance that every community will be adequately catered for under the Housing of a Nation initiative. And I say, with no fear of contradiction, that these homes are climate resilient. In the weeks ahead, Madam Speaker, several families will receive keys and commitment letters for their new homes. Yes. Madam Speaker, with respect to all of these interventions, these homes have been largely funded by revenue from the Citizenship by Investment program. In all of these investments in housing, which I have just articulated, in the furtherance of our efforts to house the nation, we successfully negotiated a financial package with the World Bank to the tune of $104 million. We have no doubt that this substantial sum of $104 million will cater for a significant number of families requiring a home for themselves. This project is separate and distinct from other ongoing projects which are implemented by the Ministry of Housing. Thus far, we have established the Project Implementation Unit and commenced public consultation, both of which are prerequisites to the implementation of the project. We wish to express our profound thanks to the World Bank for working with us and partnering with us, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, government has also given the Dominican Social Security the green light to proceed with the use of their lands located at Warner for the development of a gated community to cater for young professionals, the middle class, and Dominicans in the diaspora. This housing development, Madam Speaker, is open to the private sector and any other investor to partner with the DSS to make this a reality. This is a huge opportunity, and interested people will choose from a range of designs with the option to do customized changes. Madam Speaker, all of these housing interventions, it is clear that this government has a comprehensive strategy towards the improvement of housing for our citizens. So I say to the middle class, I say to our friends living in the diaspora, you will have an opportunity to build your home, partnering with Dominican Social Security, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the government plans to revolutionize and strengthen its health system, one that is people and community centered, while providing comprehensive and quality services in an integrated manner to ensure efficiency, accountability, affordability, and effectiveness of health services delivery through an enhanced management and governance structure. We intend to implement the following 6 initiatives in order to achieve our objective. 1, expand the capacity of the primary care services. 2, improve the management of the Dominico-China Friendship Hospital. 3, integrate levels of care. 4, development of a Dominico Health Services Authority. 5, strengthen the Ministry of Health and Social Services. And 6, enhance financial arrangements. The government will expand the capacity of the primary care services by transforming the current Type 3 health centers to polyclinics, with expanded capacity to provide a wider range of services. We'll also transform the current Type 1 facilities to community health and wellness centers. We'll improve the management of the Dominico-China Friendship Hospital by recruiting a chief executive officer immediately. This will serve to improve the management and governance of the hospital. Madam Speaker, government has taken a decision to develop a Dominico Health Services Authority, which will strengthen delivery and management of health services and will be achieved by the following. One, the creation of a health services authority capable of managing the integrated health services delivery network and will comprise of a board of directors and a new management structure. Two, the establishment of an integrated management structure for both levels of care by the introduction of a new CEO position responsible for all levels of care within the network and management structure responsible for the whole network. Introduction of performance management for all levels and the development of policies and guidelines to strengthen accountability and efficiency in the utilization of resources. We thank the Pan American Health Organization for their extraordinary advice, guidance, and support, the framing of the paradigm shift in the management and delivery of healthcare services in Dominica. We also thank the Health Commission for detailing for the government the activities which must underpin and guide the transition to the occupation and operationalization of the new hospital. We say a great thank you to the Commission. With the commissioning of the first wing of the Dominico-China Friendship Hospital, citizens of our country and residents of our country will benefit from a number of new and expanded health and diagnostic services. These include, but are limited to, the introduction of an MRI machine, the high-intensive focused ultrasound HIFU machine, and an increase in the number of dialysis machines. This is a government known for first things, Madam Speaker. Just as we were the first government to introduce an intensive care unit at the hospital, we are the first government to introduce an MRI and HIFU machine to Dominica. These are things for which we all need to set aside our partisan biases and applaud the Dominica Labour Party administration. These are major advancements in the availability and delivery of optimal medical care to all. Yes. When the new wing is open to the public at the end of August 2019, it will bring an end to the need of our citizens to travel overseas for an MRI. This product, Madam Speaker, will bring peace of mind to all of us, knowing that we now have these facilities right here in our country. With respect to the HIFU machine, Madam Speaker, we will be able to provide non-invasive surgical interventions, not only to our citizens and residents, but also to citizens of other countries, because we have been advised that there are only 2 HIFU machines in the region, Dominica being one of the 2. In respect to dialytic services, progress has been made in respect to dialysis care in our country. When we came into office in 2000, Madam Speaker, we found 1 dysfunctional dialysis machine at the hospital. By 2001, we increased the number of new machines to 4. We bought 4 new machines, Madam Speaker. Then we moved to 7, and eventually to 12, as we currently have at the old hospital, Madam Speaker. The new wing at the Dominica-China Friendship Hospital will have 14 dialysis machines, Madam Speaker, and in a more advanced setting, utilizing more advanced technology. And tell me, Madam Speaker, if that is not progress in the healthcare system of our country. So we are seeing who are being laughed at now, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, and I want to applaud the Minister for Health and the staff for the extraordinary efforts in health, Madam Speaker, because for us, health is critical. Critical, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the opening of the Kempinski 5-star resort in October 2019 is no doubt great news for the people of Dominica, the tourism sector, and players in the sector. With the expected opening of the Marriott-branded Anachi Hotel, along with the Moroccan-funded hotel, we can well appreciate the economic transformation that will take place in the north of the country, and more specifically, the town of Portsmouth. In respect to Jungle Bay, since its opening in June, with a complement of 62 full-time staff, the number of rooms are expected to increase by year-end, with a staff complement of 150 Dominicans. The construction of the Tranquility Beach, branded by Hilton Curio, a 75-room resort located at Grand Savannah, Salisbury, is proceeding smoothly with the creation of 40 construction jobs currently. Our very own locally branded Secret Bay Resort has commenced construction of an additional 36 villas, adding to the 6 which have already been completed, making for a total of 42 villas when the project will be fully completed. Madam Speaker, the service at this resort is beyond a 5-star. Excellent service provided by our Dominican people, Madam Speaker. Because 99% of the staff there are young, progressive Dominicans. In a few weeks' time, government will sign agreements for 3 additional tourism developments, 1 in Portsmouth area and 2 in the Roseau area. We are also witnessing soon, very soon, we're also witnessing the reconstruction and expansion of the Fortune Hotel, which will take a total room to 100 rooms on completion. And we advise, Madam Speaker, by the proprietors that there is a strong positive possibility of the Fortune Hotel being internationally branded. And this is going to be certainly good in this, Madam Speaker. So we can see, Madam Speaker, the great interest which the international brands are having in Dominica, to the point where the Marriott has agreed to place its name on a hotel to be constructed on the site of the Public Works Garage. The lands have already been sold to the developer by the government. So, Madam Speaker, with all these hotels, we're starting to see the manifestation of the vision and declared objectives of the government where tourism is concerned. The establishment of these hotels is good news for those seeking jobs. It is good news for the farmers. It is good news for the taxi operators. It is good news for fishermen. It is good news for all those who engage in the provision of services to visitors to our shores. And I say, Madam Speaker, glory be to God for all of his great gifts. So, Madam Speaker, the National Employment Program has been a training ground for several hundreds of citizens and a source of employment for many since its inception. Many of those who were engaged under the NEP have been able to find full-time employment. Government is eager to have many more fully engaged, and as such, participants under the NEP are being targeted to ensure that they take full advantage of the opportunities that are becoming available in the tourism sector. Madam Speaker, there are also small business owners, farmers, fishers, and other service providers who have an opportunity to gain employment with or related to the operations of these new establishments. Suffice it to say, Madam Speaker, We believe that many can find employment in the value chain that should lead to a visitor having an ultimate, unmatched experience in Dominic. The government's aim is to ensure that as much of the goods and produce that are required by the new hotels can be sourced locally. The new hotels also represent an ideal opportunity for entrepreneurs, those with cottage industries, and those making artisanal products, from sweets and jams to floral arrangements and soaps, to make their products available for sale in the restaurants, rooms, and shops of the new hotels. With the advent of all of these investments in tourism, and because of our environmental practices, our country will become a major center for hosting of international conferences and events. Madam Speaker, we believe the solution of our air access challenges in a sustained way is the construction of the international airport. While where this is concerned, we have commenced the process of its realization. A reputable American aviation and airport construction firm, Lundgren & Brown, was contracted to advise the government on the most suitable site to locate the international airport. Guided by its professional advice, a site comprising approximately 332.53 acres of land in the vicinity of Wesley and Woodford Hill were identified and selected. It is our view that the construction of a project of this magnitude must be done prudently and in full conformity with international standards. We have therefore secured the support of a key partner, the World Bank, in providing technical support and advice to us on this project. They will be actively engaged in facilitating our analysis, financial modeling, and institutional structuring to make this project a success for generations to come. The American firm has been engaged further to carry out the geotechnical and architectural work for the International Airport project. Soon, they shall embark upon the drilling of 5 very large boreholes as part of the geotechnical survey, which will provide critical data to assist with the final engineering designs for the runway and associated works. The contract for this exercise has already been signed and is being executed. We expect to receive draft designs for the terminal building, control tower, fire and rescue block, fuel farm, and maintenance facility by the end of 2019, as per the schedule submitted to us by Lundgren & Brown. Let us be very clear, Madam Speaker, that this government will build the international airport for Ghana. Will build. Madam Speaker, there is no question that we need to modernize our cruise and cargo ports. Therefore, we have embarked on a process towards the realization of 2 critical pieces of infrastructure in our country. We shall establish a cruise village, which will include services to the ferries and duty-free shopping. The cargo port will be constructed with the use of advanced technology and equipment to assist with the efficient operation of the port. The port will be financed through a private-public partnership, which will help limit the government's financial contributions to its construction. Madam Speaker, as a matter of fact, I shall lead a delegation to Florida in the month of August, Madam Speaker, to meet with executives of the various cruise lines in order to share with them firsthand the concept and drawings of the project. So, last year, Madam Speaker, we are modernizing Dominica's physical infrastructure as part of our overall development strategy. We pursued this strategy in order to enhance our competitiveness, attract additional foreign direct investment, and further stimulate the local private sector. As we continue to focus on the diversification of our economy, we are well aware that a well-developed infrastructure is a prerequisite to a successful tourism product and the development of commercial activity. It is with this in mind that we have continued to make significant investments in our road network. For example, the road from Pigwa to Portsmouth will be reconstructed with a view to realigning it and shortening the journey. The project will include the construction of all double-lane bridges. Plans to improve the road network from Louvet to Bacatel, and which will include a Mitcham Bridge, are well advanced and will be financed by a grant from the government of the United Kingdom. Final designs have been completed, and we expect the procurement process to be completed by December 2019 to allow for the commencement of works by February 2020. Madam Speaker, I give residents of Dominica the assurance that we will make Roseau, as I said, a climate resilient and modern city. Coming off the construction and commissioning of the new West Bridge, we have moved to phase 2, the building of solid river defenses to protect the city from the risk of flooding, while at the same time providing a conduit for drainage within the city. In the upcoming months, you will see the unfolding of our vision for the city. Before long, the Roseau Riverside Promenade will be a reality. This will improve the general aesthetics of the city and boast of vending stalls, a recreation area in a well-manicured environment. Madam Speaker, this is merely a glimpse of what we envisage for the city of Roseau. Within the next 3 months, we'll also see the commencement of works along Great George Street, which will include the installation of proper drainage system and the undergrounding of the utility lines and improved sidewalks, Madam Speaker. To achieve our objective of building a resilient city, the project will focus on better drainage, undergrounding, cabling of utility wires, sidewalks, etc., etc. To our citizens who traverse the Iolibla Highway, I wish to give you the assurance that your drive will soon be a much better experience. The building of the bridges at Makushri, Battley, and Pointrong will be completed and commissioned by October 2019. Major edge failures and cliff stabilization will also be completed. I wish again on behalf of the government and people of Dominica to express my sincere gratitude to the government of the People's Republic of China. As we forge ahead to continue to build a resilient road network, we are pleased to announce the commencement of a number of major infrastructure projects during the fiscal year. Madam Speaker, works are to begin by October 2019 to reinstate a very important artery that links the west and east coast of Dominica, which serves one of our major agricultural regions and is critical to the tourism sector. I am referring here to the construction of a new road between the Hillsborough Bridge and York Valley Bridge. With a new alignment, which is for the most part away from the riverbank. Notwithstanding the new path, that project will also see the construction of river walls to reduce the risk of flooding and erosion in this low-lying area. Meanwhile, designs for the road section from York Valley to Ponkasi are being reviewed. It is government's intention to commence work on that section by February 2020. Madam Speaker, everyone in our country can attest to the remarkable efforts and great success we have achieved in the improvement of our roads across the length and breadth of Dominica. These efforts will continue apace as we expand the program through the recommencement of the Community Road Enhancement Project. This has been augmented by the procurement of 3 mobile concrete trucks and the importation of a large quantity of cement. Every community in our country will benefit from this initiative. Madam Speaker, Dominica's geographic location, its terrain and physical geology is what makes it unique in the Caribbean region. This characteristic has exposed us to many disaster risks. In order to mitigate against this risk, we have contracted a loan with the World Bank of $184 million for the implementation of the Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project, DVRP. This project involves the rehabilitation of the East Coast Road at the cost of $122 million. The project will cover extensive reconstruction of the roads from the Emerald Pool to Casa Bruce, through the entire length of the Carnago territory into Pequot, as well as from Casa Bruce to Petit Soufre. This component will be tendered in the coming weeks. Madam Speaker, we have the money for these things. We're not going to talk about money we're going to look for. We have the money secured for these things. The Ministry of Justice, Immigration and National Security. The portfolio of projects under that ministry will focus on the continued rehabilitation and modernization of the structures that house our essential services in this ministry. Some of these include construction of a new police training school, rehabilitation of the Coast Guard base, construction of new police stations in Casa Bruce and Dales. Considering the success of the multipurpose park houses since its inception in 2016, in boosting the export of fresh produce, an additional amount of $3.2 million is allocated to its expansion. The Ministry of Trade and the Ministry of Agriculture continues to work with the local farmers to ensure we have production that meets market demand and standards. To enhance market competitiveness, we have allocated $1.6 million to ensure that the Fresh Produce Act is implemented, and $2 million will be spent on the Bureau of Standards to construct a new building to house the meteorology laboratory infrastructure. Madam Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Mr. Lorenzo Sanford, who has created history in the territory by being one of the youngest men to be elected Carnago Chief. We expect that he will bring fresh ideas and a new vigor to the territory. And I will say, I have, as a young man myself, it's a great pride that I also celebrate his victory as Carib Chief. And I give him the assurance that he will end up being the most successful Carnago Chief that we have seen in Dominica's history. And as the Minister of Finance, I will empower you to so do, young man. And I think all of us should celebrate your success. I certainly salute you and celebrate your success. And for me, it's almost very personal, because it pleases me always to see young people in particular do well for themselves and for their families and for the nation. So we'll continue to work with the Carnago Chief and with other local community leaders to continue efforts at improving the quality of life and expanding the economic opportunities for the Carnago people. The projects to be implemented in the Carnago territory in the 2019-2020 financial year will include, but are limited to, the continuation of the Small Business Development Fund, which will provide grants to new and existing small businesses. The establishment of an agricultural center to provide the farmers and households with seedlings and other planting materials and inputs. the development of the craft industry through training, marketing, and financial support to those engaged in its production, the rehabilitation of several community-based roads, and the construction of 100 new climate-resilient homes for the benefit of the Kanagago people. Today, very exciting things will happen in the Kanagago territory. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and Constituency Empowerment will continue rehabilitation works for the infrastructure and lighting of the Windsor Park Stadium at the cost of $3.3 million. Other projects to be undertaken in the financial year 2019-2020 will include renovation of the Youth Division building, rehabilitation of Geneva playing field, rehabilitation of Collywood playing field, rehabilitation of the Massac playing field, the continued works covering, etc., of the Massac basketball court, construction of tennis and netball courts at Portsmouth, construction of the National Gymnasium, construction of a multi-purpose court for Roseau. $3 million is allocated for the start of construction of the National Multi-Purpose Sports Complex at Stock Farm. The project, which will be implemented on a phased basis, will cater for basketball, volleyball, netball, lawn tennis, and swimming. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Commerce, Enterprise, and Small Business Development continues to play a pivotal role in ensuring an enabling environment that strengthens and promotes resilient enterprises. Not only have many businesses bounced back from the impact of Hurricane Maria, but new companies have emerged in Dominica, while some have expanded. The government of Dominica will continue to provide support through the provision of grants, the 4 credit facilities at the 8 Bank, as well as technical assistance and necessary training. In the last financial year, a major realization was the OECS Partial Credit Guarantee Scheme, which will facilitate improved access to financing by small and medium-sized enterprises. Madam Speaker, every day we see an increasing number of agro-processors involved in the production and adding value to our primary products. Many of them are exporting their products such as cocoa sticks, virgin coconut oil, honey, earning foreign exchange, and creating employment for themselves and others. We have to mainstream the cottage industry, providing support to them to establish central processing facilities which can reduce costs and improve standards. We are fully aware that there are markets both locally and regionally for these products. However, these small businesses are constrained by access to finance, the use of appropriate technologies and facility, and the human capital for effective management. We will work with them to build the capacity to deliver quality goods and take advantage of new opportunities and niche markets. This year, we'll roll out a business acceleration initiative for Dominica, targeting businesses with potential for expanded production for local and regional markets, and with the capacity to increase employment and foreign exchange earnings. And Madam Speaker, the idea here is to look at agro-processing and the cottage industries, and to finance up to about $100,000 per such investment, to really get some of the small businesses. So we have this young lady at Kingston, Sharon, who is involved in cocoa stick production, exporting to Guadeloupe, exporting to Martinique, exporting to the United States, exporting to Antigua and St. Martin. But we need to get her to the level and the standard for her to increase production and become part of the mainstream economy. And we'll be targeting my friend in Calibishi, the cassava farmer, my Mara St. Rose, Madam Speaker, Hot Rose, and the other one, Hot Rose, and Big Jade. All of these people are involved in agro-processing and exporting, but they're not adequately captured by the statistics department because they go through the informal means of export. And we need to mainstream them in order for that to be captured so they can make a justification for the continued funding and existence, Madam Speaker. So we'll be doing that. Madam Speaker, on the request of the Dominica Manufacturers Association, government will give consideration to the review of the terms and conditions of the special loan facility at the Aid Bank. This, we hope, will improve access by the members to the funds. During the expected review of the VAT legislation during this financial year, we intend to explore the possible benefits of the removal of VAT on specific raw materials imported for use in the manufacturing business. Madam Speaker, in last year's budget, the policy measures focus on the business environment and taking action to improve some basic procedures so that that service delivery by the public would be improved. The measures identified were largely implemented, and we continue to work towards the goal of improving the business environment. I will now focus on the measures which will be implemented during this fiscal year. Following the destruction towards a digital economy, Madam Speaker, following the destruction caused by Hurricane Maria in September 2017, the majority of our government's aging telecommunications and IT infrastructure was destroyed. We could have simply replaced this network and equipment with what we had before. However, we set ourselves the challenge of deploying a highly resilient, cost-effective, and future-proof network, which will form the foundation of our government's digital transformation strategy, making advanced digital e-government services a powerful reality for every citizen of the Commonwealth of Dominica. We intend to propel the Commonwealth of Dominica into being the most digitally advanced society in the English-speaking Caribbean within the next decade. The built-for-purpose fiber optic network will connect every government site across Dominica, including all government offices, every educational institution, medical centers, police and fire stations, and post offices, and provide telecommunications, internet, data, cloud, and other ICT services to all of these government sites. The network includes several layers of resilience, including underground ducting to our core government sites in Roseau, to include all ports, the Dominica State College, and the Princess Margaret Hospital, overhead fiber, microwave, and satellite. Whilst the deployment will not be fully completed until 2020, our core sites will be ready for the height of this year's hurricane season, ensuring that we remain connected to the rest of the world despite what Mother Nature might throw on us. The enhanced digital services will also facilitate the effective implementation of the smart learning and advanced safe city solution. Through the Ministry of Education, we will ensure that our students have access to the most advanced learning techniques. Put simply, from September, every teacher and child from grade 4 primary and upwards in the Commonwealth of Dominica will have free access to an enriched online learning experience. The students will be able to follow the syllabus in their schools, including access to e-books, interactive videos, games, and notes, as well as tutorials and teacher-guided chats, thereby ensuring our children benefit from the best possible education experience. As part of the agreement, the Government of Dominica will introduce innovative, citizen-centric, cutting-edge digital services, reduce our ICT costs, improve productivity, increase our country's attractiveness to foreign investors, and create new revenue streams for our public sector. The initial 24/7 e-government services will encompass connected health, smart learning, and advanced safe city solutions. The highly resilient, robust, and future-proofed network will form the foundation for government's digital transformation, making new advanced digital e-government services a powerful reality for every citizen of our country. In summary, Madam Speaker, our government's and your government's digital transformation will provide far-reaching benefits for every citizen business, and government departments. It will foster the growth of indigenous small and medium-sized enterprises in Dominica, delivering positive impacts for every sector of our economy, and place our great nation at the forefront of the global knowledge economy. Madam Speaker, rapid digital transformation is reshaping the global economy, permeating virtually every sector and aspect of daily life, changing the way we learn, work, trade, socialize, and access public and private services and information. As the global digital economy grows, Dominica must position itself to capture a fraction of this growth potential. In that regard, government has agreed to participate in a regional digital transformation program, which the World Bank is willing to fund. The program includes 4 components, namely digital connectivity, digital platforms and services, digital skills and entrepreneurship, and project management. The digital connectivity component aims to support universal access to affordable and safe and resilient broadband internet services to individuals, businesses, and public institutions. The digital platforms and services component will support the development of specific digital platforms and applications for financial and delivery of services. The digital skills and entrepreneurship, this component aims to address the skills and jobs gap. It is expected to create a critical mass of digitally skilled workers and entrepreneurs to attract digital investment and drive digital innovation, business, and job creation. It will be particularly targeted at youth and disadvantaged populations through the development of professional certifications and employment-ready skills programs. This program, Madam Speaker, complements the vision we have for Dominica and for ensuring that we benefit from the opportunities that a digitalized environment will bring. Madam Speaker, this government for a number of years has challenged the public service to give priority to the continued modernization of its administrative structures, systems, and processes. We have always been of the view that every effort should be made towards creating a more productive service, starting with a special focus on selected essential services. The Ministries of Education and Health have been directed specifically to come up with more progressive structures that would address the numerous complaints and support the professionalism, output, security, career development, and upward mobility of these services. Madam Speaker, education has evolved rapidly over the past decades. Secondary schools, for example, have moved from student populations of under 100 in the 1950s to in excess of 800 in 2019. With those rapid increases, the structures have remained the same, except for limited modifications. Modern education systems call for robust management, supervision, and support structures within schools. Our current framework is limited on career development path for teachers. Additionally, the current school-level organizational structure lacks a clear career path and provides limited opportunities for middle management. Currently, only a small stipend is given to teachers who are chosen to be deputy principal or heads of department in secondary schools. And these 2 positions, Madam Speaker, are not in the schedule of positions in the public service. They are ad hoc, informal arrangements. Since these 2 positions, Madam Speaker, they said are not established, then there are no job descriptions, and consequently, roles and responsibilities vary from school to school. It is within the above context that a restructuring of school-level supervision and student support services is proposed. The structure is premised on the need to maximize the use of existing human resources while concurrently providing an acceptable structure for staff mobility. Madam Speaker, we propose to have the following where schools are concerned. As it is now, you have a principal and you have some graduate teachers and qualified teachers. That's all. So there's very little scope for upward mobility. You have had situations where teachers come in simply as a teacher and you live as a teacher after 30, 40 years. So what we propose, Madam Speaker, and this will also address a number of challenges which we see at the school level. What we propose in here, Madam Speaker, is to maintain the one principal per school, the creation of 2 deputy principal positions, and these 2 deputy principals will have no teaching responsibilities. One will be responsible for the pedagogy of the students, the welfare of the students, and the other will assist the principal in the management of staff and the scheduling of courses, etc. We'll create 2 assistant deputy principal positions. Heads of department will become an established position, Madam Speaker. We'll create the position of senior graduate teacher and also maintain the position of graduate teacher. We'll create a new position of senior graduate teacher and maintain the position of qualified teacher. Madam Speaker, the assistant principal will assist the principal in the delivery and monitoring of the school curriculum and related activities. Consequently, the assistant principal leads instruction, assessment, behavior management, or pastoral care provision at the school. The head of department, this is a position of responsibility for supervision of staff. Heads of department usually are at the subject level. We'll also bring on board a school counselor to advise and counsel students, refer students, and keep confidential records. Graduate teacher and senior graduate teacher, a trained teacher with a higher education degree, in addition to teacher training qualifications. These levels will be so configured to have a graduate and senior graduate teacher to provide greater opportunities and upward mobility for the more experienced graduate teacher. Qualified teacher and senior qualified teacher. These teachers entering the system for certificate in teacher education. Position of permanent appointment after a minimum of 2 years as a temporary qualified teacher. This category will also be configured to have an additional position of senior graduate teacher for the more experienced. Madam Speaker, gone are the days very soon when we'll have teachers who are working for 9 and 10 and 12 years and not appointed in the system. After 2 years, you will be appointed a teacher in the system. Proposed structure for the nursing service. Madam Speaker, in the healthcare system, the nursing workforce is predominantly the largest professional group. This suggests that to a large extent, healthcare outcomes will be influenced by the morale, productivity, and improved quality of patient-client care levels within the nursing service. In recent times, the global shortage of registered nurses has brought the issue of nurse migration to the fore and has brought particular attention to the factors and challenges faced by nurses that would encourage migration. 2 key factors highlighted are the lack of professional development opportunities and lack of promotional opportunities. Under the current structure, upward mobility is very limited, since the structure only provides for promotion from the clinical level to the management and administration level. At the clinical level, nursing positions are mainly staff nurses, graduate nurses, nursing assistants, mental and primary care nurses. Madam Speaker, the proposed structure will include an increase in the number of nursing management positions. The nursing service will be headed by the Chief Nursing Officer. The following management positions will be created to assist the Chief Nursing Officer: Director, Hospital Nursing Services; Deputy Director, Hospital Nursing Services; Director, Advanced Nursing Practitioner; Director, Public Health Nursing Services. Some of the other specialized nursing positions include nursing managers, senior family nurse practitioner grade 1 and grade 2, senior nurse anesthetist, nurse anesthetist grade 1 and 2, public health nurse grade 1, senior public health nurse 1 grade 1 and 2, and nursing supervisors. Staff nurse grade 1, 2, and 3, which includes nurses with specialization, nursing assistant grade 1 and 2, and nursing intern. Most significantly, however, is the creation of 3 grades within the specific categories of nursing, which will provide an additional level at the entry level to upward mobility, namely nursing practitioner grades 1 and 2, nursing anesthetist grade 1 and 2, staff nurse grades 1, 2, and 3, nursing assistant grades 1 and 2. In addition, the following categories will provide support to the nursing service: public health aides, nursing aides, operating room scrub technicians, dialysis technicians. Madam Speaker, the creation of these positions, both for the teaching and nursing service, will follow the prescribed process or procedure in law. Madam Speaker, the relative ease of travel and the portrayal of lifestyles, sports, and entertainment via television have had a profound influence on the aspirations of Dominicans, especially on that of our youth. In a renewed and modern Dominica, aspirations and dreams must be matched by knowledge, training, and skills. Moreover, the foundational skills and training must, in the first instance, be available and accessible right here and to citizens of all ages and circumstances. With the advent of the establishment of a number of 5-star hotels, international airport, and cruise village, Dominica is at the cusp of a major transformation of its tourism industry. If we're to cater as a country and to provide services to our guests at a 5-star level, then we should have a commensurate level of service. We now have justification to go well beyond the efforts of the past and to establish a fully fledged hospitality training institute of Dominica. This institute will be structured and operated to produce professionals for the hotel and tourism industries. To achieve the establishment of the Hospitality Institute, we shall collaborate and partner with the Dominica hotel and tourism industry, property developers, and other stakeholders. We shall also receive technical assistance from the Organization of American States in that regard. Therefore, the Institute will become the incubator for making Dominica a 5-star service delivery country across all sectors. Madam Speaker, the Labour Standards Act makes provision for the appointment of an advisory board to advise on the setting of the minimum wage for our country. This advisory board will be appointed on August 12, 2019, and will thereafter submit recommendations to the Minister for Labour. Let me make it very clear, Madam Speaker, that this government pays all of its employees above the minimum wage. That's correct. All. We recognize, however, that we cannot unilaterally impose an increase in the minimum age on the country. This is something that requires discussion with stakeholders, including trade unions, and employers and other stakeholders. An increase in wages is something that employers will have to factor into their cost of doing business, and it is critical that the employer be allowed time to make the necessary adjustments. We propose that the new rates developed after consultation will take effect on or before January 2020. Madam Speaker, I now move I now move to recall the Latin motto of my alma mater, the Dominica Grammar School. Mens sana in corpore sano, which translate a healthy mind in a healthy body. While the skills and other training to which we attach high priority challenge the mind, the condition of the physical body is critical for a full and productive life. The value of sports and sporting activities is an indispensable contributor to a full and healthy life. There is also abundant evidence that sports is a rapid growth industry, handsomely rewarding those who take it on a professional level. During the new fiscal year, the spotlight will fall on the construction of a number of sporting facilities that will create additional avenues for developing the talent of our youth and position Dominica as a major contender in the hosting of regional and other tournaments, similar to what has been achieved with the construction of the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. Madam Speaker, we have now received the final designs and cost estimates for the construction of the indoor sports facility at Stock Farm. The facility has been designed to accommodate swimming, tennis, netball, and basketball, all with international standards. We will be in a position to sign a contract for the start of construction towards the end of 2019. Sporting activities within the city of Roseau will also get a boost with the building of tennis, netball, volleyball, and basketball courts at the forecourt of the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. These facilities will brighten up the city on evenings as young and old find their way to the stadium to socialize and to voice their support to the teams competing at the various events. A contract has been signed and works have started on these courts, which will be specifically for the residents of the Roseau Central constituency. Madam Speaker, we believe the construction of a golf course in Dominica will give a major boost to our tourism product. We have before us a proposal for the construction of a 9-hole golf course in Dominica. The government will embark on a comprehensive stakeholder consultation in order to arrive on a consensus on this project. Madam Speaker, during the budget address presented in 2018, a pronouncement was made regarding the ban on styrofoam and single-use plastic items used in the food service. The ban on importation took effect from 1st January 2019, with an intended phased-out period of 6 months up to June 2019. In an effort to meet this objective, government initiated a public awareness campaign utilizing all forms of media, including meetings with stakeholders. The ban was accompanied by a reduction of the import duties to a wider range of biodegradable alternatives to zero. I am happy to report, Madam Speaker, that the data reveals that consumers made the switch before the end of the phase-out period, increasing the demand for biodegradable alternatives. We can conclude that the switch to biodegradable and combustible items has been successful. It is proposed, Madam Speaker, that Dominica moves one step further in its efforts to reduce the use of plastics with the banning of single-use plastic bags in our country. Consumers have already been encouraged to use reusable shopping bags as an alternative to plastic bags. The private sector has taken the lead on this initiative with a number of large and medium-sized businesses promoting and providing reusable bags to consumers. It is therefore proposed that effective 1st January 2020, that there will be a ban on the importation of single-use plastic bags within a 6-month phase-out period up to June 2020. Government will make available 100,000 reusable bags to as many households as possible, with priority being given to low-income families. Madam Speaker, government is also aware that a number of people use the plastic shopping bags to dispose of garbage. Given that the matter of solid waste management is also a major concern, effective 1st January 2020, the rate of duty applied to biodegradable plastic bags will be 0%. Madam Speaker, this is important. This is an important initiative, and we expect over time to reduce significantly our use of plastics and to make our contributions to protecting the environment. In the implementation of this policy, Dominica is now one of the leading countries in the Caribbean on what is quickly becoming a global trend. Madam Speaker, I indicated last year that after engaging stakeholders, consideration will be given to the possible decriminalization of marijuana in Dominica. We have had the opportunity to hear the views of members of the public, many of whom have been engaged in expressing their views on this issue in the media. Madam Speaker, we recognize the sensitivities of this issue. We are of the view, however, that in all the circumstances, particularly having regard to the empirical data and the growing international importance of medical marijuana, and the world trend of decriminalization of marijuana for medical, religious, and recreational use, that the government should bring to the Parliament for consideration legislation to decriminalize the possession of marijuana. The government will therefore propose that the possession of not more than 28.35 grams, that is 1 ounce, of marijuana be decriminalized. We will go further and make the necessary amendments to have struck off from the records of those convicted for marijuana possession any conviction in respect to the possession of 28.35 grams, 1 ounce, or less. Madam Speaker, we do not believe that it is fair that an individual should be punished eternally for such an offense. This measure will impact in a positive way many of our citizens. There are many people who are arrested for marijuana cigarettes, Madam Speaker, and these things are on their records, and it haunts them. They've been hunting them for several years. We will clear those persons' record, come to Parliament legislation, Madam Speaker. The government will continue to explore the medicinal benefits that can be derived from the use of marijuana, including its economic value. Madam Speaker, the use of vehicles that do not utilize fossil fuels has a direct impact on the levels of carbon emissions. In support of the goal of becoming the first climate-resilient nation, government is taking action to encourage the use of vehicles that are more environmentally friendly. Electric vehicles are those with an electric motor only. It is more environmentally friendly than those which utilize only fossil fuel. As such, effective 1st October 2019, the import duty and value-added tax on the foreign vehicles will be reduced to 0%. HS 8702.40, that is electric buses. HS 8703.80, that is electric cars. HS 8711.60.90, that is electric motorcycles. Hopefully, Madam Speaker, this measure will encourage citizens to make the switch to the more environmentally friendly vehicles, and over time, to have more of these vehicles being imported into Dominica. There's also an opportunity for individuals to provide the support services for these vehicles. Charging stations will be needed, for example, and there must be appropriately trained mechanics to provide maintenance services. We trust that the investment in these areas will be made. Madam Speaker, it has been noted that many of the buses used for tours provided to cruise visitors are the standard 16-seater buses. While these appear adequate for regular taxi operations, they appear not to be ideal for the transportation of cruise passengers. This is deemed to be the case, as cruise tours normally include larger groups. Tours are longer, and arrangements are sometimes made for refreshments to be provided while on tour. The larger buses are generally used for organized cruise tours. Organized tours are central to the cruise business, and the provision of services to support cruise lines in offering tours to its passengers is critical. A cruise line is more likely to keep destination on its schedule if that country is able to facilitate the organized tours. As such, wherever possible, efforts are being made to keep Dominica on the schedule of as many cruise lines as possible. To address this issue, Madam Speaker, a waiver of import duty and excise tax will be granted on buses which seat between 21 and 29 people and no older than 5 years. These are to be used for organized tours for the cruise sector. The new policy will be similar to that which applies to agriculture. Only buses to be used in the cruise sector are to benefit. Prospective beneficiaries will have to meet stipulated conditions, and the program will be administered through the Discover Dominica Authority. So the new policy will allow for 0% import duty and 0% excise tax. This measure will take effect 1st October 2019. Madam Speaker, the Dominican Social Security currently pays $575 per child as a maternity grant to eligible beneficiaries. The government notes that while this amount has proved to be helpful to many parents, we recognize that there is a need to have the amount increased to better assist in meeting the costs needed for newborns. In this regard, we propose an increase of the maternity grant to $1,000 per child for eligible beneficiaries. This measure will take effect on August 1, 2019. Madam Speaker, some years ago, the government removed the import duties on a wide range of baby and adult items, including but not limited to diapers and baby wipes. We have noticed there is a growing number of seniors who use adult diapers on a regular basis. This has caused some financial distress for many families. In respect to babies and infants, the sheer cost of baby diapers makes it prohibitive for some families to be able to afford them. In our continued effort to make the two most vulnerable groups in our society more comfortable, the government proposes the removal of VAT on the following items: adult diapers, lifting chairs, bathroom aids and reclining beds, baby diapers, and baby wipes. This measure will take effect on 1st September 2019. Madam Speaker, we on this side of this Honorable House are guided by a philosophical foundation geared at creating an environment for social and economic justice that leaves no one behind. Our efforts at building a modern and resilient Dominica remain critically focused on ensuring that every single Dominican achieves in accordance with his God-given ability, and that no one suffers because of existing gaps in providing for his fundamental needs. Our signature social projects, as defined by the Yes We Care, the school transfer grant, the school transportation allowance, and the stipend to seniors over 70, to name a few, are all testament to a commitment to level the social order. However, Madam Speaker, it is in meeting one of the most basic needs of man, shelter, that this government has established an exemplary record of performance that is unmatched and which most likely will remain unmatchable in the foreseeable future. Over the last decade and a half of this Labour Party government, what has been described as the most comprehensive housing revolution ever in the OECS has been in progress right here in Dominica. Right. Hundreds of families who were once squatters on government lands and had no hope of owning a house and a lot of their own are now proud owners of a piece of the real estate that they once could have been called on to vacate at any time. The regularization of squatters was the forerunner of a wave of transformational initiatives within the housing sector that saw the elimination of pit latrines, extensive housing repairs, and the construction of new homes. Concessional lines of credit targeting public officers and private sector workers were established or facilitated by this government so that mortgages were not burdensome, especially for first-time homeowners. Madam Speaker, this revolution is in full swing and being brought to a higher level in the climate-resilient apartment complexes and standalone homes under construction or nearing completion in many of our communities. Our objective is to do all that is possible within the resources available to ensure that no Dominican family goes through life without a home or without access to a safe and secure shelter, particularly in this age of climate change and horrendous weather systems. Madam Speaker, our quest for economic justice is being tackled on many fronts. We continue to invest heavily in improving our physical infrastructure, a vital requirement for attracting investment, both local and foreign investment, and for generally stimulating economic activity so that our citizens can have access to the jobs they need and deserve. Madam Speaker, there will be more time in the coming weeks to elaborate a full vision and a new direction and a new basket of benefits for all Dominicans. What I can say today is that after 4 terms, this Labour Party administration and your Prime Minister still keep their promises, and we intend to lead this country to greater glory. My vision and that of the Dominican Labour Party is to build a resilient Dominica, characterized by a vibrant and sustainable economy and strong social capital. That's right. A country in which all citizens have an acceptable standard of living and are proud to call Dominica home. Yes. A country in which all Dominicans, here and abroad, have a stake, and a country in which they are keen and happy to stay and contribute. My Dominica, your Dominica, our Dominica, the Dominican Labour Party will continue to build, will provide opportunity for our youth and security for our seniors. It will have the high-quality healthcare and education. Our technology and Wi-Fi access will be world-class. From work to living standards to recreation, we'll create a Dominican brand that becomes recognized internationally. We will foster opportunity and prosperity on the most climate-smart island in the Caribbean. My Dominica, your Dominica, our Dominica will achieve a level of resilience that is unprecedented globally. The Labour Party intends to construct and promote new level of sustainable social and economic well-being in a country where our natural environment is protected, our built environment is climate resilient, and the needs of our citizens are being met, and the potential exists for all Dominicans to realize the dream. Our team has the experience, skills, international recognition, and a track record to deliver. Our team has the experience, skills, international recognition, and track record to deliver. Work with the Dominican Labour Party towards this future. Work with me towards this future. Out of a global economic downturn and the ravages of the hurricanes, we stand today on the cusp of a stronger, more secure, more sustainable, more resilient Dominica, a new dynamic Dominica. I say to all Dominicans everywhere, to join the Dominican Labour Party in embracing and delivering this new vision and building our new season of development, as we say thank you to God for His goodness and look forward to what is to come. Let all Dominicans everywhere shout glory, for the future of our country is bright. Let us build together to push Dominica into that new season of glory, for truly God has blessed us. For everything that we have faced, glory. For all that we have overcome, glory. For the bright future that will be ours, glory. Glory to God, the Almighty God. Glory for Dominica. And it is safer always with the Dominica Labour Party. Madam Speaker, I know all of you want to go for your lunch and so on. I'll let you go very soon. But Madam Speaker, whether you are a supporter or a non-supporter of this government, you cannot deny that we have made dramatic positive improvements since this hurricane. We must not forget from whence we came. Nobody in this country, Madam Speaker, wanted to be Prime Minister after the hurricane. Nobody. The only person who stood standing in this country and said, I will continue to take on the challenge of rebuilding this country is Roosevelt Scott. And the promise that we have made, we have delivered, and those we committed to, we shall deliver. Yes. May God bless this great nation of Dominica, yes, as we look to the dawn of a new Dominica, yes, a prosperous Dominica, a just Dominica. Thank you very much. God bless you. Madam Speaker, I move that the House be adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Madam Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable House be adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Those in favor, will the member take his seat, please? I will repeat. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable House be adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. This Honorable House stands adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.